Hello to our lovely audience, and welcome to The Owl's Nest, Gamepress's own Fire Emblem Heroes podcast. I am your messenger owl for the day, Joshua, also known as Red Ferrari 1998, and with me today is my fellow co-analyst, Abby, also known as Milky Toast. So, Abby, you had any luck on the brand new Legendary banner?
I'm not actually sure if I'm going to roll on it. I've always wanted Winter Tharja, but I got burned pretty badly on the last legendary banner. I rolled 100 orbs for a single New Year's Takumi. So I'll wait and see, and I'll figure out if I want to roll or not. I may not.
Yeah, that's fair. Choosing to roll on legendaries is usually quite tricky given, the mixed focus, even with the 8%. Before we get on with the rest of the show, I just want to say we've been listening to all of your feedback, whether you were one of the people who left a comment to us on YouTube or you've given us feedback in the Discord channel. We are taking your feedback to heart and we are trying something a little different this week. We're going a lot more casual and we hope you guys enjoy it. Without any further ado, let's just get right into it. This week in Fae has been eventful, honestly, which is quite surprising given summer is usually a slower time for events. I say that as if we've had more than one summer to compare it to, but still. So let's talk about what's happened, and I guess we'll just start at the first thing. First up, on Monday, there was the re-release of the two summer banners from last year, the Elysian summer banner and the Norian summer banner. As a quick recap, on the Elysian summer banner you can get Summer Robin, Tiki, Frederick and Gaius, and on the Norian banner you can get Summer Leo, Summer Corrin, Summer Xander, and Summer Elise. Abby, what are your opinions on these banners?
I would say that, well, at least for me personally, they're pretty easy skip. I already have some flying mages, so I don't really need Summer Corrin. And the new summer units, if I were to pull for a summer unit, their exclusive weapons are just so much better, and their stat lines are just, in my opinion, stronger than the last batch of summer units. I did pull pretty hard for Summer Tiki last summer, and I got burned pretty badly. So, yeah, I think I'm going to be staying away from these banners. How about you?
Well, yeah, first of all, I do know the plight of you getting Summer Tiki. I'm sure you know I've rubbed it in your face many times before, my own Summer Tiki.
Yes, you have.
It's just so fun too. But for me personally, I've already got the units from these two banners I would want. For me too, it is also a skip. But I would say overall that these units are still pretty good units. And I guess the males are also there.
Yes, we do enjoy looking at Summer Xander's abs. So, moving on. On Tuesday, the Grand Conquest opened its doors once again, and this time we are on the continent. Yeah, I believe it's a continent of Valencia. I haven't opened the menu for Grand Conquest. I did pre-register. I've completely forgotten until this very moment that it was even happening. So of course you can get the usual rewards, orbs, I think feathers. Yes.
Yeah, there's feathers in there. There's also lances so you can get more rewards.
Yeah, until you reach tier 25.
Tier 25. You should at least do a little bit of it. Just get those. Just get to rank 2 and get those 3 orbs at least.
I may do that just to get a few extra orbs. So hopefully you're not like me and you haven't forgotten that's going on.
I mean, I've skipped it for the most part too. But that's mainly because I'm not a big fan of rival domains.
I think a lot of people feel that way. I certainly feel that way. I just find it annoying.
It's just not something I'm fan of. I'm all for bigger maps, just not the way rival domains is handled. Though admittedly it has gotten better with the fact that the AI, they can no longer teleport and attack at the same time.
teleports behind you. Nothing personal, kid.
Nothing personnel, kid.
So, right. And then on Thursday, as we will be discussing later in the episode, we had the Legendary Hero banner.
Yep, once again, you can get a bunch of different 5-star exclusive units on a rate up. The new Legendary Hero this time is our now third version of Hector, which is also now our third armoured axe unit with distant counter.
Hector just continues to be power creeped by only Hector. That's just the way it is.
Why can't we get a different version of Hector? I want Sword Hector.
I want to see sword Hector that's just a sword duct taped to armads. That's what I want.
That's what it would be. I'm fairly confident. That just seems like a Hector thing to do.
So on red, if you were to pull there, you would be finding Winter Tharja, Leaf, and Legendary Ike. On blue, you'd be finding Legendary Ephraim, Love Abounds Lynn, and Female Morgan. So on green is the aforementioned Legendary Hector, Myrrh, and Brave Ike, and colorless, I can pronounce that word, is Legendary Robin, Elise, and Love Abounds Roy. So a very solid banner. We will be talking about why later in the episode, so stay tuned.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, as there has been with the past few legendary banners, there is a legendary hero battle. You can face off against Hector in 4 different difficulties and obtain a total of 9 orbs, as well as whatever the normal map usually gives. I think it's a blessing and something else which I can't recall right now. Either way, good luck, because they always love to put reinforcements on the legendary hero map. Though I have heard this one's maybe a bit easier compared to the other ones.
Hopefully our lovely audience won't be tearing their hair out as they're trying to complete it.
Hopefully not. Anyway, we have had 2 events on Friday. We'll discuss about the smaller of the 2 events first, which is the revival of Lion's Grand Hero Battle. Probably regarded as one of the harder Grand Hero battles. I'm not sure what it is about Sacred Stones and their Grand Hero battles being difficult, especially when the original Sacred Stones was pretty easy. I guess that's just how it goes. And of course the other thing is the voting gauntlet. While the voting gauntlet itself has not started, we have had the bracket revealed, and we have had a summoning focus to go along with it, so you guys can get the other heroes which are part of the voting gauntlet. First of all, before I mention the brackets, I'll mention the theme is Fated Battles. These are supposed to represent famous battles within Fire Emblem. So the first bracket is Marth versus Fallen Harden. The second bracket is Sigurd versus Arvis. That's a heated battle indeed. Bracket 3 is Ephraim, specifically Legendary Ephraim, against Lion, which is convenient given his Grand Hero battle has just come back. And the final bracket is Ike, specifically Legendary Ike, against Zelgius. And the summoning focus that's come along with it is for the 4 heroes who cannot currently be obtained off another banner, which is Marth, Sigurd, Zelgius, and Fallen Harden. Both Ephraim and Ike you can obtain off the legendary, and Lion's GHB is currently being rerun as we just said, and Arvis is also from a Grand Hero battle. So, if you had to take a guess, who do you think's gonna win?
Probably Ike. I mean, it's Ike.
I think Ike.
It's Ike. And our final piece of news for this week is that we actually have a piece of breaking news. On Saturday, we received news kind of out of nowhere about the 2.7.0 update, which will be dropping in early July. This covered 3 major features: tactics drills, new weapons and refinements, and some quality of life changes. The tactics drills are essentially puzzle maps that gives you a team of units and asks you to complete some map objectives in a certain amount of turns. There will be 3 difficulty levels to complete, and it will give you some orbs and feathers for that completion, so some valuable resources there. Then up next we have some new weapons and refinements. Some heroes will be receiving new weapons, which will be Katarina, Nephany, and Titania. All these weapons can be upgraded in the refinery, and Eldigan will also be gaining access to Dark Mistletanes. So if you don't have an Ares and you've been wanting to use that weapon, you can now use it on your Eldigan once this update drops. And then last but certainly not least, we will be having some quality of life changes. These include a retry button for maps that don't consume stamina, like Grand Hero battles, an option to turn off in-battle music, a collated quest completion screen instead of individual ones, and an event recap that lets you view conversations from past events like Tempest Trials. All these features, and maybe more, will be discussed once the update is actually released and we have more information, so please stay tuned for that.
So that's it for this week in Fae. It's been quite eventful, as we've already discussed. So anyway, as we said, we can now move on to talking more about the Legendary banner. So, before we talk about the Legendary banner, I think I just want to talk a bit about Legendary banners themselves and give our opinions on them. I don't think I've ever really spoken about this publicly anywhere on the Discord or in the Owl's Nest, but I really do have a huge disliking of just the general concept behind Legendary banners, and I believe you are of the same opinion, Milky.
Yeah, I used to be more for them. I had some really good luck with some legendary banners. So I guess they kind of lulled me into a false sense of security. As I mentioned in the intro, I got really burned on the last one. I did not want New Year's Takumi, and that's all I got. I'm definitely less for them than I used to be, just due to my own personal experiences with them now, but I probably should have known better. Luck can't last forever.
Yeah. I think a lot of people see the 8% and they get really tempted by it, when in reality it's not that big of an increase over what it normally is.
The one thing I do like is that there's no pity breakers. Red knows about my saga of pulling for Winter Tharja, in which I got two Sanakis, both minus res, and one Eldgin, and then I was out of orbs. So pity breakers are not my favorite thing, at least on legendary banners. If you're pulling a lot of the time, you do get good fodder, so that's nice. But the rate up isn't as much of a rate up. And it's always down to luck, too. I mean, there's the probability that you could put in hundreds of orbs and still not get anything. So it's kind of, I wouldn't call it false advertising, but definitely lulls a lot of people into that false sense of security that I was talking about before.
I do believe that I've seen quite a lot, especially when the legendary banners were first coming out. A lot of people just seem to be expecting to get, legendary heroes, or more specifically focus heroes, just thrown at them, when in reality it's 8% instead of the usual 6% for legendary heroes.
Yeah, and even if you have a 50-50 shot, there's a chance that you could put in 100 orbs and still get nothing. Of course, that'd be really bad luck, but that's just how probability works. There's a lot of confirmation bias, I feel like, with pity rates, in that people get involved in the sunk cost fallacy and they think, oh, because I spent this much, I'm guaranteed. And until you get that one guaranteed pull, which I'm not sure how many orbs actually takes, but it takes a lot, nothing is guaranteed. And you can still kind of have that really bad luck, though I'd hope that none of the people listening to this do, because that would just suck so much.
Frankly, actually managing to reach the guaranteed 5-star pull, it is extremely statistically unlikely you would ever, reach that point. This increase in rate is not my biggest problem with legendary banners. It's more just how they're presented and how this is the only way to get, legendary heroes. Let's use this current one as an example, which has got, legendary Hector on it. If all you wanted in green was legendary Hector, statistically your odds of actually getting him specifically are very low, because even if you've got the 8%, that's shared by two other units.
Yeah, it's less of a chance than a regular focus unit, I believe, isn't it?
Statistically speaking, you are more likely to get a focus unit on a normal banner than you are to get a specific unit on a legendary.
But with that being said, if you're kind of more of a new player, you're just aiming to flesh out your collection, legendary banners are quite good if you're pulling everything. If you're color sniping, then good luck to you. You're in the same boat as me and a lot of other people, and we're just suffering all the time.
I think who legendaries definitely benefit the most. I think there's two main categories. There's first category new people who don't have a lot of, 5-star heroes. Legendary banners are perfect for them. You only get 5-star exclusives and there's a small selection and it's a rate up. What's not to love if you're new? And the other people I think it works for is for anyone who would want any of the units on a color. So
And just not to unnecessarily give criticism to legendary banners, they often do feature really strong units who, at the very least, give good fodder or are strong units in their own right just with their base kits. So, although we're more experienced players, and I'm sure a lot of people listening to this podcast too are more experienced players and don't necessarily need these units, it is worth pointing out that a lot of these units are quite good. So even if you're disappointed to not get what you want, at least you're still getting something good. Whereas with a regular banner, you can get a pity breaker.
there's not many bad pity breakers anymore, honestly, ever since they changed the rarity of a vast majority of the 4 to 5 star units.
Yeah, that's true. Now that we're not haunted by the scourge that is Perry and Merrick, things are better than they used to be.
Yeah, but even with everything said, I still have a disliking towards legendaries, just the moral standpoint. IS they're taking these units and they're locking them behind a banner which comes around every so often. You can't pull them from regular banners, and they share their focus with two other units. And of course, there's the aspect of you really want to get these units if you want to increase your arena score, as blessings do increase the amount of score you earn.
Yeah, that's something that's a bit of a kind of bad feature, but to me, it's still better than not being able to get these units at all, in that if their banners were never rerun, that wouldn't be very good either. So, I feel that they're a bit more of a necessary evil, but yeah, not the biggest fan of them either.
I agree. I do think, honestly, I would recommend to most people watching, if there's only a specific unit you want on the legendary banner, let's say you only want Winter Forger off of red this time around. It would be a long wait, but if you wait until December, it's likely that we'll get a Winter banner rerun, and then you'll get Winter Forger on a normal banner with no shared focus.
Just talking to anyone who wants Winter Tharja Red, was that just a random example that you pulled out of nowhere?
Yeah, maybe it was someone here. I don't know.
So, with that topic out of the way, we will start discussing Hector.
But let's be real. Is there anything that we really need to say? I mean, it's Hector.
I feel like we're kind of in the midst of that meme where it's like, who are you? I'm you, but
Yeah.
stronger. The you, but stronger was like LA Hector, and now we have Legendary Hector who's literally LA Hector, but stronger. Like, by the end of the game, we're just going to have a Hector that if you're in cardinal directions of him at the start of the turn, your units are just KO'd and the game is deleted. That's probably what's going to happen.
They'll call it Hector ploy.
Yes, it's just the game is Hector now. The meta is Hector. Everything is Hector. So there are a few things to talk about Hector, though. I guess we'll go into Ostia's Pulse, which is basically Infantry Pulse, but instead of its regular restrictions, it has tactic restrictions. So that's pretty good, I guess.
I mean, I feel that's one of his only unique things compared to the other Hectors. I'm going to say straight off the bat, even though stat-wise I do think Legendary Hector is one of the better Hectors, it's still just Hector at the end of the day. It's Hector with a different armad. I wish, honestly, if they were going to do Hector ults, I wish they'd differentiate them a bit more.
Yeah, I know what you mean. He's really close to Fallen Robin in stats, so he's basically Fallen Robin but not a dragon and Hector. I was personally a little disappointed when they announced him because like he's amazing and he's Hector and he has great art and I still want him, but I already have LA Hector. I was lucky enough to pull him on the Valentine's banner, and I have multiple Hectors because I've been lucky enough to pull him on other banners. So I'm just starting to get almost Hector fatigue. I mean, he's awesome and we all love him, but and then we have Choose Your Legends Hector who's coming. So it's like how many Hectors can we have that have Armads who sort of look the same? Like at this point, almost the whole game is going to be Hector. You're not going to be able to go into the arena without seeing Hector, and we'll be right back to the start. I'm just waiting for Takumi to come back and be really amazing, and then we'll just be back where we started. The balance will be restored to the Force.
This is just one big continuous loop. I don't know if you've ever watched Futurama, but there was one episode of Futurama where Philip, Fry, and Bender and the Professor they go into the future, and in order to go back into the future, they sort of have to go so forward in time that the universe collapses and then just rebuilds itself. So they effectively just do one massive loop.
That must be
Yeah,
IS's plan. That must be the plan.
they've been watching too much Futurama.
They're just trying to bring the game back where it was. Something that I think we should speculate about is do you think the other Hectors are going to get Thunder Armads as an option?
I don't know, but I think they will because they've always done that, regular Ephraim got Flame, Siegmund, Julia and Seliph got their parent versions of Naga and Tiafing, and Hector himself got Berserk Armad. So I do think regular Hector, and maybe even Loverbound Hector, might end up with Thunder Armad. I just wish though that they'd go the other way. Like, I'd love to see Legendary Hector with Berserk Armads.
Real talk for a second, my favorite version of Armads is original Armads. Like QR at 80% is just. And I hate spending feathers to get QR3 because I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I don't like using QR2. So having it embedded in his weapon is seriously my favorite version. I know Slaying in Wrath is ridiculously good, and I know that Thunder Armads is ridiculously good. I just personally prefer Armads. I just like QR. I think it's great, and I would like to go in reverse too. I'd like exactly what you said.
Original Armad is still really good. I know a lot of people love Berserk Armads, but I do love the original Armads too. I am honestly with Hector, I am very impressed. He's managed to find three different versions of the same legendary weapon, a weapon from Legend designed to slay dragons, and he has not yet found a single version of it which deals effective damage against dragons. That'll be CYL Hector with ultimate Armads.
Armads Supreme.
Armads Omega.
So, do you think Lecter is going to be one of those units who, when it comes to reds, like he's just not going to care?
I think so. I think he can definitely be, and I'm gonna say that from personal experience with my own Love Abounds Hector. Yeah, I'm going to say straight off the get-go, I love Thunder Armads because it fits just so well for how I like to play the game. I like to play quite defensively. I like tanky units which, can take a good hit or two. That's the sort of thing I like, and with Thunder Armads, it's just I think it's such a great weapon, honestly. It's a reverse Flame Siegmund, so as long as he's got more allies than enemies nearby, he will not get the enemies will not perform a follow-up attack on him. Of course, there's some things which will get through this. Stuff which generally avoid Wary Fighter, stuff like Breaker skills and Bolt Fighter will get through it. At that point, it will become... I do believe at that point, much like with Wary Fighter, it becomes a speed check. And let's be frank, he's not fast. In fact, he's pretty slow.
I remember reading somewhere that someone was like, oh, if his speed's pretty high, then we could get into some memes, but it's not, so.
I think that was another member of the Fire Emblem Heroes team at Gamepress who said that. But yeah, I get where you're coming from, but if someone does have one of those skills, they will get through with Thunder Armad, frankly. which I mean is disappointing, but that's something where every fighter does too. So I mean, it's not something you can judge him for.
Yeah, I almost feel like they were kind of testing out this weird restriction with reverse flame, not reverse, with flame Sigmund.
I think it's a sort of weird restriction, but it's a fun restriction to use, and I think having more allies and enemies nearby is easier to achieve on an enemy phase unit, which is what Hector is. He's an enemy phase unit. That's what he's designed for, especially given he comes with Distant Counter and Vengeful Fighter.
Yeah, it makes it easy also to stack buffs or goads or spurs or whatever on him.
I want to talk about Ostia's Pulse briefly, because I know we mentioned it before, but we sort of put it to the side. Ostia's Pulse it's an interesting skill to me. It's like, it's infantry pulse, but it's based on a tactic style effect. And if an ally has only 2 or less of that ally's movement type, they will basically get Quickened Pulse. Now, we were talking about this yesterday, and you believed that this skill wasn't as good as it could be. Could you elaborate on that?
I've kind of revised my thoughts on it, but my thoughts on it were at the time that the unfortunate part about it is that you do have to use it in mixed teams, which does somewhat limit its utility. So what I was saying at the time was that let's say you want to take full advantage of those armor goads and buffs. It would be kind of hard to do that with, or let's say you want to use armor march and buffs at the same time. You can't really do that to full effect with Ostia's Pulse, especially, I mean, it's a 300 SP skill, which is great for arena scoring, that's awesome. But to use it really the most effectively, you can't use it in an all armor team. So that's a little unfortunate. You do have to throw an infantry or flying ally in there, which is going to hurt your score. So for optimization's sake, not the best. Still a really good skill though for like 90% of players who don't care about staying in tier 20 though.
Hector has always been one of those units who you can pretty much throw him onto any team and he'll work. And I think that's where Ostia's Pulse will shine. You got Hector there, but then you've also got, infantry or cavalry, and they can enjoy the effect of Ostia's Pulse, which is definitely going to be a benefit.
I don't want to see Bravelyn and Reinhardt under the effects of Ostia's. I don't want that. It's just sad. It makes me sad to think about.
Are you sure you don't want to see Reinhardt with Moonbow ready immediately?
No, and then he still has his seal slot for deflect missile or whatever thing that you want to put on him to make him even more annoying than he already is.
So that's what you could do. You could put Ostia's Pulse on Hector alongside the Reinhardt, who's also running Quickened Pulse. Moonbow out of the gate. I know it wouldn't benefit him much since he'd proc Moonbow anyway with just one Quickened Pulse, but that opens up a seal slot.
Yeah, but wouldn't Luna be better because it's 3 cooldown and take it to 1 cooldown and then you're hitting with Luna on the last hit?
Oh yeah, of course. Of course, you're very correct there. Ostia's Pulse with Quickened Pulse, you've got yourself a turn 1 Luna.
I'm sorry I've unleashed this on the world.
If we see this in Arena now, this is your fault. I'm blaming you for this entirely.
I will edit this out, but no, I won't actually.
You won't.
I won't actually edit it out. I won't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to everyone.
We're getting really close to the mic now.
Sorry, this is not an ASMR podcast.
So overall, let's go on to our overall thoughts. I think overall Hector he's frankly incredible. I mean, it's Hector, of course he's going to be incredible. He's just a better Hector with huge attack, huge defense. And if that wasn't enough, of course, this Hector also has to have a super boon in attack.
Yeah, oh god. Oh my goodness, why are we all even alive?
Aren't you looking forward to fighting 60 attack Hectors?
Oh, that's just what I've always wanted and dreamed of. How did you know?
OHO.
OHO.
So, I believe we've talked enough about Hector himself. Let's talk about the rest of the banner to give a very quick recap of the banner. So from red, you can get Winter Forger, Legendary Ike, and Leaf. From blue, you can get Legendary Ephraim, Loverbound Lynn, and Female Morgan. From green, you can get the before mentioned Legendary Hector. You can also get Brave Ike and Myrrh. And from colourless, you can get Legendary Robin, Elise, and Love Abound Roy. So, very quickly, we can go a bit more in depth in a second. Abby, what is your opinion of the unit on this Legendary banner?
I think it's a pretty strong offering, with the sole exceptions of maybe Leaf and Love Abound Roy. Everyone's like exceptionally solid. And even Leaf and Love Abounds Roy aren't bad. They're just not quite on the level of everyone else, in my opinion. But again, that doesn't mean that they're bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think Leaf and Loverbound Roy in particular, since you mentioned them, I think they're both solid units. My main problem with Leaf compared to the others is that he's not that good fodder. He does have drive attack, I guess. Apart from that, he's not that good fodder, whereas the others are, and of course all the others in themselves are strong units.
Exceptional fodder and strong units. And I think we're both just tilted because I pulled 2 leaves on his original banner and you pulled a leaf on this banner, so we're both just salty.
You should have seen the amount of sessions I had which were not green. I don't think I had 2 sessions which had 2 greens in them, and every other one either had 1 or none.
What are green orbs? We just don't know.
I think there's some sort of mythical creature at this point. And it's such a shame too, because green is phenomenal, frankly, on this banner.
Green's usually really good and just they're so hard to pull. But yeah, red's a really strong offering. 2 out of the 3 units absolutely exceptional, and 1 being good is definitely not something to shake a stick at. What do you think about blue?
Blue, oh man. Well, I'm biased because I love Legendary Ephraim. My Ephraim, I've invested so much into him. I've got him with Gale Force, he's got Sturdy Blow, he's got Renewal, he's got Attack Smoke. Basically, if you were to go onto the Legendary Ephraim page on the Gamepress website, which, as you might know, was written by me, I have basically given him what I've said optimal. I wanted to go all in. If you don't know, viewers, I am a massive Sacred Stones fanboy. I want everything to do with Sacred Stones, so I pulled so much for Legendary Ephraim. I spent a whole 4 orbs.
A whole 4 orbs red. Wow, you really went in hard.
I do realise I am just flexing at this point, but I got Ephraim on my second pull from his banner.
Yes, IS was definitely looking over your shoulder and blessing you. But what about LA Lynn and F Morgan there?
I have those 2 as well, and both of them are solid units. I love using my female Morgan. I've got her with a Blade build. She's also got Mirror Strike and Blue Tonebreaker, I believe my Morgan has. And she's really good, I think. I love using her as my blue flyer of choice on my flying team. And with Loverbound Lynn, I think she's also great. All of the armored mages are great, and Lynn is no exception. She is pretty good in her own right. She can run the usual close counter owl set that armored mages tend to love, even though her defense is a bit on the lower side. But what is your opinion on blue?
Blue, I thought, again, really solid, good units. I'm not sure how they are as fodder, but great units in their own right, especially with investment. But green is a definite must pull. If you can only pull one thing in your entire life, pull green. I mean, you have Legendary Hector, you have Myrrh, you have Bike, all of them absolutely incredible units, just ridiculously good for green, better than usual, which is a hard bar to kind of surpass, but still just amazing.
Green is absolutely amazing. I do feel you say that as if people are going to be able to pull green. You're assuming people can get green orbs here, Abby.
I am making assumptions. I apologize to anyone who cannot find the elusive green orb.
But yeah, Myrrh, amazing unit, flying dragon, very great personal weapon, just fantastic all around if you're willing to invest into her, give her distant counter, quick riposte, and the Iot shield seal. She is incredible. Brave Ike, not as good as he once was, but he's incredible fodder because he has that steady breath. And of course, Legendary Hector, who's the new one. He's the one everyone's hyped for. Everyone on green is worth pulling, even if you've had them before, frankly. Even though Mer's not that great as fodder, because all she has is Fury and no, actually, she's the sole carrier of Home Dragons. She does have something exclusive to her, unless I'm forgetting someone. Yeah, I still think she's the only one. So all of them are still good fodder. Let's talk about the last batch, which is the colorless. What's your opinion on the colorless offering this time?
Again, pretty solid, more akin to red of two really great units, obviously being Legendary Robin and Elise, and then one good but yeah, I'd say good unit in LA Roy, not quite as stellar. Pretty good with investment though, especially if you get the right IV. Elise is the best healer, hands down. Cavalry movement, and then her reasonably high attack, just so ridiculously good. Especially if you have a spare Jenny or Bridal Lynn to fodder to her, just you will see people tearing their hair out and your defense wins go up probably if you start featuring Elise on your team. And Legendary Robin, this jury's still out on her. I mean, I kind of have a bad IV on her. I'm not exactly sure how great she is because I haven't had that great experiences with her, but other people on the team seem to really like her. Colorless dragon. It's an interesting niche that nobody else has. So I'd say she's best in her class. I can say that much. She's the best colorless dragon.
No way!
That I can say with certainty.
Abby, I think you're making a big claim there. That's like saying Legendary Lyn is the best green bow. It's a hard thing to say.
It's so hard, but I feel confident.
You're exceeding a lot of confidence there. But my opinion is mostly the same. Elise can run that insane Razzle Dazzle combo of Wrathful Staff and Dazzling Staff, which I do actually have on my own Elise, because this is part of the reason why my opinions of legendary banners are so sour. I did go for Elise on Gunther's banner, where she was alongside Bridlin and Innes, and I did happen to pull two Bridlins and two Innes before Elise. I know that doesn't sound that bad, but between the two Bridlins and the two Innes, I spent about, well, I think my pity rate got up to 11.5%. I did end up spending a lot, and of course then I had to spend even more just to get Innes and then Elise. And I think I was pity broken by Sigurd one time as well, just to add insult to injury, you know.
Good fodder though, close defense.
Oh yeah, he's now living happily in my Tanner, as in the regular Tanner, not Summer Tanner.
Sigurd lives on.
Sigurd lives on, helping Tanner to be her best.
So yeah, pretty exceptionally solid banner all around.
Yeah, even me, who, as I said before, I really dislike legendary banners, this one is solid. It is really good.
Yeah, I might drop some of my 400 orbs that I've saved on this. I'm undecided, but I might.
If you do decide, I do wish you good luck, and I do also wish everyone else watching good luck if they do summon on this legendary.
Yeah, good luck everybody. Hopefully you won't need luck. You'll just be swimming in 5 stars, but we are holding out for you. And if you'd like to tell us how it went for you in the Gamepress Fire Emblem Heroes podcast Discord channel, we'd love to hear.
Make me salty at your legendary Hector polls, please. Before we wrap up, I feel it might be fun to have a little guess, have a little speculate if you would, and let's have a think about what the next legendary banner might be. So, Abby, do you have any ideas?
I have no idea of the identity of the legendary hero. If I knew that, then I'd probably...
Well, no one does. Let's be real.
I'd probably be working at IS undercover and none of you would know. That'd be pretty neat. I hope, and I'll probably get flack for this, I hope that it's a Fate's Awakening character. I personally like them, so I think that would be neat, but I have no particular wants, needs, or desires. I'm pretty easygoing when it comes to that stuff. I know you're probably wishing for Erica.
Even though I'm pretty sure it won't be, but it might be soon. I've got a few ideas based on looking at what legendary heroes are coming up. So, since the game tells us when legendary heroes are next going to be showing up, we can pretty much figure out what the next legendary hero color is going to be. Of course, they might shake things up, nothing certain, but based off past trends, we can be pretty certain, though not 100% on what the next color will be. And I've used this to make a couple of predictions of what I think it could be. So we know on the July banner, credit to ZX Lucario on the Fire Emblem Heroes subreddit, who had this information in a comment on a thread, who said that July's banner will have Ryoma, Lyn, and Robin. Now, as we can see from this, the remaining color is blue, so we can, based on that, we can assume the next legendary hero will be blue, which I am thankful for, because if it's Erica, I'm gonna lose all my orbs again.
I'm thinking actually, based on what's going on in the story and everything, it might be an OC. We might be seeing Fjorm's brother kind of pop up. Now I'm not sure because it seems that the Fire Emblem Heroes OCs maybe don't sell as well as the other units, so I'm not sure how willing they would be necessarily to do that.
Maybe. Though I think having Hrid might be a bit less likely because of course, one of the Niffle royalties is already a blue unit. Well, Fjorm. I don't know if that's entirely likely. I've got a few ideas, and something else we can theorize is that the blessing that they give. We already have a water blue unit in Fjorm, and we already have a fire blue unit in Ephraim. So we can guess that if it is a blue unit, it will likely be a wind or a earth affinity. So I had three main ideas. Now my first idea is the one I want it to be, because I just want this to happen. I want it to be Legendary Arm, and I want him to have a blue bow.
That would be pretty awesome.
I would love that. And if this one is not Blue Bow Arm, then the banner in August it looks like it's going to be a red legendary hero, which is why I'm fearing it might be Erica. But if it's not Erica, I want it to be Red Bow Arm. Every time we can make a prediction on either red or blue or even colors, I'm going to say Legendary Arm, Legendary Arm. I want Legendary Arm.
Alright, fair enough.
I don't even really like Arm as a character. I mean, no, he's fine. He's a fine character. He's not one of my favourite. But I just want him to get an alt way has a bow.
So what were your other predictions, I suppose?
My other thought of what it could be is, I thought they might go back to Tellius, and I theorized it might be Legendary Micaiah. Was another idea I had. If it was Legendary Micaiah, I think she would have the Earth affinity, or she might have Wind. Yes, I think if she ended up being an Earth hero, I think she would boost resistance, and if she ended up being a Wind hero, I think she would boost speed. That would be my guess, but we can't, say for certain. But I think Micaiah, she is a light mage, so that already makes her a good fit for the blue color.
And she's a popular character, so.
Definitely. I'm just a bit unsure on what her weapon would be, unless they give her a special version of the Fanny Tome.
Divine Fanny.
Yeah. And my other theory would be one which would probably appeal to you, because as you said, Fate's Awakening, and that would be Legendary Corrin as a blue dragon. Would be my final theory.
I'm not the biggest fan of Corrin, so I can't really describe the revulsion that went through my body when you said that, but
But given we've gotten a legendary Robin, I think a legendary Corrin could be a thing which happens. I think if we got Corrin, he would be a blue dragon, as I said. It would be blue, and I think they would be of the Earth affinity. I now realize I completely forgot to mention what affinity I think Arm would be. I think he would also be Earth. They could be Wind. I don't know. In reality, these are just three ideas that I had. Legendary Arm, Legendary Micaiah, Legendary Corrin. Chances are it won't be either of those three.
I mean, none of us kind of saw Legendary Hector coming, so...
I did actually think it could be Legendary Hector. Based on... I was just thinking of, like, green units it could have been, and the only real person who came to my mind is Hector. One which I do think nobody predicted was Legendary Ryoma, though. Legendary Hector was one I did sort of guess. Out of my three ideas, I've always said I would like it to be Arm the most, but I wouldn't object to Legendary Micaiah, because getting another Legendary Mage I think would be quite interesting. I believe we only have one right now, that being Gunther. So, I believe we've gone on for long enough about this. So, overall, good Legendary Banner, excellent Legendary Hector, Legendary Arm please, Intelligent Systems.
And we'll see what's in store for the next banner.
So everyone, that's it for this week on The Owl's Nest. We hope you have enjoyed the new direction we're taking with the podcast, and as always, we appreciate any sort of feedback we receive from you, whether that be on YouTube or on the Gamepress Discord.
Credit where credit is due, we'd like to thank Kevin MacLeod for creating all the music you've heard today. If you'd like to give his amazing library a look, you can find a link to his website in the podcast description.
Do make sure to tune in next week for the next episode of The Owl's Nest. The topic of the next episode is going to remain a secret for now, but we have a few ideas that we think you will all be excited for. Until then, I wish you all good luck with your summoning, and see you next week.